But the Spirit of the Lord told me something interesting too. He's got a little surprise for them.
Yes, he gave me a word a long time ago. Now I don't have that one pulled up, but he did say that they were going to try to lock us down again. That word I heard about 2 months or so ago, and I'd have to, like I said, maybe when we're talking, I can maybe pull it up. But he did say they're going to try to do it, but it's not going to work.
Yep.
And to not be afraid about it, we have to understand. Don't be afraid by what they're saying, because all they have are words, and they're going to give themselves away. They're so arrogant. God keeps saying they're so arrogant. They're going to overplay their hand, and it's not going to work. And one of the words he gave me either today or it was for one I'll give out tomorrow. He even said the world is getting fed up,
Yep.
and the world is going to stand up.
Yep, we are getting fed up. I just saw before the signal went out, we have a pretty good storm coming in right now, where the DOJ is on planes again. That is what they tried to do today.
Mm-mm. You know, and it's funny because they were just trying to get, it was last week or the week before that. Now, obviously, we fly a lot. And so I did see, somebody sent it to me, the CDC was going to try to, where we're supposed to test before even going on any domestic flights. That's what they want. Now, of course, they're not going to get it, but that's what they want to do, is they want to test you before you get on any flight. Now, it doesn't really surprise me why all of a sudden they want to get to the point where we're being masked again on a plane when we're not masked anywhere else. That really gets me to wonder what they're trying to pull. But speak to it to fall and rebuke it in the name of Jesus. So he's telling us to speak the exact opposite of what they are saying. Don't put up with any lockdowns, and don't ever put up with us being and having our mouths shut ever again. That was the first thing, and God's saying don't do that again. But what he gave me a long time ago about it, this was on March 27th. Now, of course, when I hear words, and he goes, monkeys, and I was like, monkeys? Like, Lord, you want me to put monkeys? He said, monkey will be in your news. Listen for the words and what they are saying about them. They are giving themselves away. So then all of a sudden, this was the 27th of March. And then all of a sudden they come out with box, and they're giving themselves away. Why? Because the whole thing is they want to shut us down. They want to take our freedoms away. And that's all of a sudden the reason why everything is being did you hear about the cancellation also of flights in the summer?
Yes. That
was a prophecy being fulfilled.
That's part of going to phase 3 and 4. June 5th is the date. You remember the document I sent you and Dr. Bartlett? I texted you that. I don't know if we've ever talked about this publicly, but that was the document that Dr. David Martin is now blasting everywhere. I think he was out yesterday with it. But this shows you that in March of 2021, on the exact date, pox planned, and that was in May 15th. And the next date is the one to take it to another level, to what you're talking about. They want to shut down all travel. That's June 5th is the target date for the next one.
Do you know what the Lord said to me about, so this is long before this ever happened, and of course before I got that, but he mentioned about flights and about how the Lord was clearing the airspace. So it goes one way, the enemies think they're going to do something, and then God's doing something different. So he said, and I'm like, again, I'm paraphrasing this, but how he was going to clear the airway for the military.
Wow.
So more of it, and that even includes domestic. So he even said, don't be surprised with unusual cancellations, things like that can't be explained.
Yep.
And so when I saw that, I started laughing. So I was like, Lord, you were just saying about things that were so unusual. And they just had canceled a whole bunch. They were telling pilots they couldn't fly, or they were restricting their time, and they weren't giving a reason. And it's all kind of coming together. But there's a lot going on right now. People got to realize, don't be moved.
Yeah, it's a great point, because I was on Sunday, I just happened to have one of the TV. I was outside most of the time. And on Sunday, it came on and said all these cancellation of flights. I'm like, why are they canceling all these flights? And then they came up with the reason, well, it's because of bad weather. Well, I quickly went and searched the country. There was no bad weather anywhere.
Yeah.
So
That's what happened with Carolina. My assistant was traveling back home, and they said it was due to weather.
Oh, a flight canceled from Myrtle Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. We had to drive back. We had to drive all the way back from Myrtle Beach.
That's what you said last time. I was like, it made no sense.
No.
Why they canceled it. And then they said they're going to cancel a bunch of summer. Well, I'm flying a lot this summer.
Yep.
And so we were just booking flights, and I'm going, why can't I get a flight to Arizona or back home? This is ridiculous. Usually I can get one. I mean, I know I don't have a big airport by me, but I can still get one where it's like 5 to 6 hours, for a trip. They're having me sit in an airport for 13 hours, or it's going to take 19 hours for me to leave Phoenix to get to where I live. I'm like, I can drive it.
Yep.
At that particular point, so why would I fly? But I'm like, if I would fly today, it was a 5-hour flight. If I book it a week from now, it takes it from 5 hours to 13 hours to 19 hours plus.
A week from this day, you're looking out. Well, that's targeting that June 5th time frame that they're going to try to shut everything down. They're preparing for it already.
Preparing, yeah. And so the Lord is making sense to me, because he says about our military is going to start filling the skies.
Yeah.
And so they can sit there and counteract with all the things that they're doing. But because I know there's a lot of people right now that are mad at this whole Sussman thing, because why did he get off? Everybody's always getting off. Things are going on.
Yep.
And God allows certain things to look a certain way. Remember, God is a judge over all the earth. So do not be, there's a lot of people getting discouraged today with what happened yesterday. Don't.
Yep.
Because every single one of them are going to pay for the crimes that they have committed.
Yeah, and you could tell by just the attitude of Kash Patel when this came out. He was very calm. It was like no big deal. He goes, "What do you expect?" It's a DC jury with many of the people on the jury were connected as donors to the Clintons.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it's part of the overall plan. Don't.
It is. I started laughing.
Yep. I didn't expect him to get. But I do expect, matter of fact, Fox News came out and said this, which shocked me that Fox News said this afterwards. The reporter said, don't really look into this. Jonathan Turley said the same thing. Don't look into this as it looked like a loss. They're going after the Clintons, and Durham is very confident he can get the Clintons.
They're going after the big fish.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's prophetically, because that's one of the things that the Lord said, something else substantial is going to come out regarding the Clintons. He is, like I said, he's given me so many prophecies regarding Hillary and regarding Bill. And what we've seen and what we know of them, no, there's more.
Yep.
It's sad to even think about there's more about how much they've already been exposed, but there is more that we don't know about them yet.
Yep. Well, just think monumentally. They brought this up yesterday. Kash Patel brought this up too. He says, "Well, whatever you get out of this Sussman DC thing, one, it's gotten American people more uproar that the system's fixed, and it's getting them more alert and more two sides of justice." He said the other thing that most people are forgetting about is that out of this investigation, this jury, came the admission by Robbie Mook that Hillary Clinton orchestrated the dossier to go to the media, and then she retweeted it. She's got her hands caught in the cookie jar.
Oh yeah, and you know what? They're going to get to the point where they're going to let her go.
Yep.
You're seeing them protecting her right now, but it's going to get to the point that they are trying to put out so many fires and so much exposure. They are going to let certain ones go to save themselves.
Yep.
And so you're seeing right now they are in like a civil war between each other, because they really thought they had all this in the bag. They thought all this was just going to go away. And once the inauguration happened, people would stop talking about what happened in 2020. We're never going to stop talking about it. We're not going to stop talking about it until it's fixed, period. Right. The end. We're not going to go anywhere until it's fixed. And they think, really, they're so arrogant that they're like, oh, yeah, people are just going to get over it. They're going to move on, and they're going to listen to everything we say. And people are. It is true. People are fed up. People are waking up. Now, some people are really discouraged, and that happened in the book of Exodus too. When they came to the Israelites, no matter what was going on, Moses kept saying, "Let my people go," and then their situations kept getting worse. God said that was going to happen.
Yep.
God said they were going to keep pursuing us, but God was, look what happened to Pharaoh. The same thing. They're all going to go down. We can't lean on into our own understanding. We have to trust God.
Amen. And that's what he said to me yesterday too, the Lord. He said, it's not going to come from Durham. Don't put your hope in Durham. Durham may be bringing some justice with him, but what is going to happen is going to come out of nowhere, and everyone's going to say, that was the Most High God.
Yes, that's what he's been saying, these prophetic words. He said, everyone's going to know it was me. He's like, I'm not letting anybody take credit for what I'm about to do. He said, what I'm going to do is going to be so profound and so awesome and so magnificent. None of us could have even imagined that. Could we have, if we were one of the Israelites, could we have imagined that God was going to part the Red Sea?
Yeah.
They couldn't have fathomed that.
Yeah. They
were whining and complaining that they were stuck there, just left to die. And that's what a lot of people right now think, that God just left us here to, die. He's forsaken us. And then all of a sudden the Red Sea parted and they walked off on dry land. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to see. We're going to see something that magnificent and that awesome of God. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of stop. People need to stop paying attention to all this. We know the justice system is corrupt in this country. Yep. We know that they've had people paid off. But don't worry, because God is the judge over all the earth. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter what judges are corrupt or whatever. I mean, God's going to deal with it all. And he already knew that they were going to do that. The fix was all in before we even knew the fix was in.
That's right. Yep. And that's why God is God, and that's why he's going to get the glory when this thing comes out. People ask me all the time, because I have some really good intel sources. Do you know what's going to happen? I said, nope. But he does. That's all. Sure. That's all that matters.
Yes, we get our intel from God, mm-hmm. and we know what he's going. I mean, he's going to expose it all. He's going to destroy them all. But do we know how to do it and when exactly? No, no one does. No. Why? Because God's never going to give that intel out. Because he's never going to let our adversaries know what he's doing and when. Yep. We just have to know
it's coming. You can feel it. Can you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
The intensity is like, I said it to my son yesterday. He kind of looked at me strange. He said, Dad, you say that all the time. I said, no, not like this. This going into this week is different. Everything is different. The intensity is like all-time high.
It is. And like I told you, I was on there last week, and I was telling you, we were driving from Pennsylvania to DC. Yeah. So we were flying out of Reagan. And the closer I got, I was like, something just broke. I just feel it. I got so excited. And before I was like, oh, I have to go to DC, And then now it was just like, oh, I can't wait, because I know what God is going to do.
Yep.
And
we don't know specifically what he's going to do, but we know God is going to do it because he said he's going to do it.
Yeah. And he said it so many times. Look at the example of Pharaoh.
Yep.
He says it over and over again. What you see then, Pharaoh was so arrogant. Now God hardened Pharaoh's heart to show Pharaoh that he was a god over all of the gods that Egypt served.
Yep.
He wanted to show his power. He wanted to show that he was the Most High God. And you can say that is happening again.
Yep.
The world's going to know it.
Yep.
And so are our enemies.
Yep. So another piece of good news that I think people should know about, over the weekend, I was talking to some former lieutenant colonels and majors in the military. And, because they say, well, the military's woke and we're in trouble in our military. And they were very optimistic, all of them. He said, I talked to three, and all three of them said they're very optimistic because the junior ranks, those who are at the lieutenant colonel level, major level, who have got are battle tested in war, they know that they have the Constitution on their side, and they will act in the best interest of this country. That's the first time I heard that in probably a year.
So God said there was a shaking in the military. Yep. So our military had been infiltrated. he put some of these generals in charge.
Yeah.
And so we know that. But we know that good always wins over evil.
That's right.
And so there are more of the good people in the military than there are the bad. Even though it may not seem like it right now. Some are woke, of course. Yes, they are. Some are paid off, but there are good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on the move. And so I got a prophetic word actually this morning that I have not given out yet. And this is something I think that you may enjoy, because one was regarding a general. One is regarding a new laptop that no one even knows about and didn't even know existed, that is going to implicate many more people. So we talked about the one laptop that someone special that you know has, but there's another one, and that's going to come out. So he says a laptop will surface that no one knows existed. Government. A blueprint, he mentions that again.
Yeah.
A blueprint will be found on this computer. Many things will be exposed and many people will be taken down because of it. Then, this is the part I want to get to. This is another paragraph, so it's separate from that part about the laptop. A general that has been on the fence on what side to be on. He will change his mind and turn for the good. The blackmail and the threatening of his life, along with his family, isn't enough to keep his mouth shut any longer. He can't live a life knowing what he knows. He will stand up with much bravery and boldness and will fight back like a David. I will protect this person. You know who you are. Move forward with the proof that you have, and I, the Lord, will protect you and your family. You are not alone and don't have to fight alone. I will fight for you, saith the Lord. So he's talking about a general being on the fence because he's had his family threatened. So we didn't know what to do for sure about this information that he knows. But now what the Lord is saying, no matter what he's been threatened with, no matter what his life has been threatened with or his family, he's going to go forward and he's going to expose what he knows, because he can't live life knowing, even to try to save his own family or his own life. This fraudulent government. So he's going to be David, like a David, and he's going to tell the truth.
I think I know who that is.
Really?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm pretty confident I know who you're talking about. He could be one of them.
Always confirm each other.
Yep. And what you just said may be more specific than you think.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I just literally got that at 5 a.m. this morning.
His first name is David, literally.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, God is so awesome. I'm just going to tell you, he's awesome. So yeah, he's like in anguish because he's been battling back and forth. He doesn't want to put his family's life at risk, but knowing what he knows, he's going to do it. And God's saying to him, I am your protector.
Right. They
are not going to kill you and they're not going to harm your family. So just go and do what God is telling you to do.
And he has been threatened many times, several ways. So I believe this is the David. Amazing.
And we didn't even talk before the show.
No.
I mean, people have to realize we didn't even get to say anything.
Because I was running late.
Yeah.
We didn't even say hi.
No.
Yeah.
No. So we did not talk before the show to let everybody know. I mean, that's just how God works with us. That's how God is working with so many of his children. He's confirming everything. And it is just so, that's why I'm like taking it back sometimes, because I'm like, I just heard this word and you're not thinking about getting a confirmation already. I was just telling you what I was told, and then you say that. I'm just like,
I knew once in my spirit you said that. I knew who it was. Because I've asked this question privately to people I know. Is he good or is he bad? Mm-hmm. And I've gotten mixed messages.
Well, I think he was mixed as well.
And that's what people have to understand. We hear about black hats and we hear about white hats, you hear about gray hats. Not everything is completely black can turn to white, gray can turn either way. Somebody that's done something bad against their country or in general can repent and turn to the good side. And somebody that's good can turn to the bad side. Nothing is absolutely permanent.
That's right. And about the Sussman, I did hear this morning too. Sussman, do not think for 1 minute you are safe from my judgment.
Yeah.
Your friends help you, but something bigger is on the horizon that will bring you all down, saith the Lord of hosts. So something bigger is on, or something, well, yeah, something bigger is on the horizon. So don't be like, I'm telling the audience, don't get stuck at Sussman because he's saying, I don't care what your friends did for you. Something bigger is on the horizon. This is going to knock them all out. So let's just focus on that and not what they just did, because people are really angry. But you know what? You got to see the good in it. It's a good thing. Why? Because God is destroying everything that was hidden that we didn't even know was there.
Right. I mean, again, going back, this is significant because the Clintons used to be untouchable. Her most trusted person, that Robbie, him to take a fake made-up dossier on an incoming president or a candidate and send it to the media and then retweet it as truth. Bill Barr yesterday used the word seditious with what she did.
I mean, I didn't hear any of that because I don't watch the news. But as soon as you said, I'm just like, yep. God calls her the Jezebel of today. He calls her Jezebel. I mean, she is the evil. I mean, he's even said she's a witch.
Yeah,
I mean, she is really pure evil.
Literally. I've obviously read the Bible quite a few times, and I know a lot about Hillary Clinton. I would arguably say Hillary Clinton's worse than Jezebel.
That would surprise me, because when we are receiving the latter glory is greater than the former glory. Yep. I believe the same thing goes with how not only how good things can be and how good God is doing things for people, but also how bad people can be.
Yeah,
I do agree with that 100%.
It is mind-blowing how sick and evil these people are. It is just, and the thing that we're seeing now is they're not even trying to hide it. It's right out there. No, they can't hide it anymore because they think they've gotten away with everything. Yeah.
But that's the reason why it's like with Pharaoh. Pharaoh really did think he got away with everything. That's why he did what he thought he could do. And God let him pursue God's people until he said, enough.
Yep.
And then he shut the Red Sea. That's what's happening right now. We keep being pursued. People are scared. They're running. Why isn't God doing anything? And God is saying, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen me do what I'm about to do. So don't pay attention to, the monkeypox thing, and don't pay attention to the COVID thing. Don't pay attention. He keeps talking about a silence. And he says a silence will be your victory. So he talked about blackouts before. He's giving me that word, an actual blackout. This last time, I think, in this one prophetic word that I have, I think it's up here somewhere. But he talks about how he is silencing the enemy. And during that part of silence, that when we come out of it, you're going to see it's all gone. So
that's amazing. I don't know if we talked about this last week or not. I've seen a blueprint, pun intended, literally, a blueprint of the nation's grid and where they're going to try to attack to bring down the black and brownouts that are coming. Just all weekend long, too. I got two news sources that go in the studio at the time, Fox and OAN, so you get two different views of everything that's going on. But anyway, even on both, they're warning President, and he's not president, but Biden he's warning of an upcoming blackout. And you're like, a blackout? Why would we black out nationwide?
Yeah.
That's that silence.
God warned about it. God warned. You can look at it, seriously, on my website, under my prophecies, you can see. The Lord talks about silence and he talks about blackouts. Yeah. And I just had somebody sent to me a text this morning, because in the prophecy that I gave this morning, I talked about this silence, how there was going to be a great silence. And they had it in the news, especially now I live in Iowa, that Iowa, Minnesota was going to have tons or several blackouts this summer due to excessive heat. Yeah. Now they're blaming it, what's going to happen, how they know what the weather's going to be in a few weeks or months or whatever, but they know it's going to cause blackouts. Well, I'm telling you, even in this, Midwest, We've had heat up to 110 plus with humidity and whatever. Now, does it happen all the time? No, but it's gotten excessively hot here. And have we ever had problems with blackouts? No.
No.
No. We've had blackouts maybe because of wind, like a derecho that we had a couple of years ago, tornadoes or things like that, but never because of heat.
Yeah. So you've had prophetic words about that. I've mentioned, I think, many times too, that my sources have said, when you hear things go dark and things go silent, you know that it's a good thing. It was a couple of weeks ago. We just put in a new generator for the studio, and they were testing it. We had a storm come in, and the power went out. I was like, "Is this it?" Because the power's not supposed to go out, but it wasn't it.
Yeah, when we're talking here, I'm gonna look it up and see when exactly it was, because it was quite some time ago that he mentioned blackouts.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kept mentioning how it's a good thing. And then also what he was talking about with me about DC and the destruction of DC, because he did say he was destroying DC.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's going to happen at night. It sounds like it's going to happen when we can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But he said the smoke is going to go across several states, so you'll be able to know what that is.
The smoke from DC?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
From the destruction of what he's doing to it. Yeah. So the blackouts, he said blackouts and servers going down is just the beginning of their great fall. He said, I'll rip everything from them, stepping in to avenge my children. Watch for more blackouts and for more servers going down. Now, this is from December 8th.
Wow.
He talked about blackouts. December 8th. So I'm trying to get the whole thing up here. But yeah, he's been talking about this for a while. He's been mentioning a great silence. I even think that there was a prophecy called a great silence.
Wow. I've watched the news my whole adult life, and I don't ever remember a time where they openly talked about a blackout coming that is nationwide. Be prepared for it.
No, that's why the whole thing with the airplanes, I think there's something going on, and then they're trying to distract you and thinking it's, they're doing it, or they maybe even really are that stupid and clueless and think that they actually are in control of anything. Because I really love to burst their bubble and tell them they're not. That guy has control of everything. And so, yeah, between flights and blackouts this summer may be. And then he says shortages, that's going to all be exposed. Mm-hmm. I mean, that really is all going to be exposed. There is no shortage. God's a God of multiplication. He's a God. He's our provider. That's his name, Jehovah Jireh, our provider. So this is just a tactic of war to try to get you to fear. And no, he's saying, don't worry about it. He's got it under control, and he's going to expose it all. And that means he's going to expose what they're trying to do with our food sources.
Yep. Yeah, they just had I saw was it yesterday or today, that there was an attack on one of the largest egg facilities. So they were trying to cut down our sources of eggs.
Somebody told me when they heard me talking about the food shortages on purpose, they sent and said that they were killing off a bunch of chickens or something.
I heard that too. Yeah. I don't have any confirmation of it, but I
don't either, because I didn't look it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on right now that people don't realize behind the scenes. And one of the things that the Lord talks about, and this is a word that I actually got this morning. Do not be deceived by the enemy's tactics against you. How many times must I tell you, do not fear or listen to their lies? That is one thing that God is saying over and over and over again. Do not fear. Because what happens is if we do fear, then we get to the point where we just believe everything they say.
Yep.
Okay, they tell us we're going to be shut down. Oh my gosh, we have to do this. Listen, God's going to take care of all of it. And even in the midst of the blackouts and the silence, God said he was going to fill and manifest himself into our homes. Mm-hmm. So remember, just like the blackout that happened in Egypt, it didn't happen in Goshen. Yep. Goshen was fine. God is saying you're fine. He's going to greatly distinguish us from them. And so even if, say for instance, all of the electronics go out, or Who cares? God's going to take care of us, and it's going to be so much glory filling our homes. We're going to stop paying attention to the news. We're going to not listen to the fear mongering, because God said he was going to shut their mouths like he did shut the lions in the lion's den with Daniel.
You know, my son said that too. He said, he said, if it does go dark, Dad, we can play Monopoly. We don't play family board games anymore because there's so many distractions. That would be kind of a blessing. I'm looking forward to the silence.
Yeah, we have to realize God is, no matter what, God speaks to all of his people. He's always there. And I think it's good for certain voices to be shut, because people are so paying attention to everything bad when God's saying, magnify me. Don't magnify the problem, magnify me, but everyone's magnifying the problem. It's the same thing what happened with the children of Israel. They limited the Holy One of Israel because they were murmuring, they were groaning, they were complaining, they were focused on everything that was going on, that was going wrong. And why did God leave us here to die? People are still doing that today. Why did God leave us with these people in control to kill us? God's not doing that. He literally has a plan. And one of the things that I wanted to share too is something that, here's the one that I heard. This one's from, hold on. This was the one I gave out today. I heard it on the 25th. This is about that silence we were talking about. Again, I say, shock waves are about to hit your airwaves. Your enemies can't stop it. A great silence will come for a short time. And in that time, know this is your victory. It's about to take place and be seen throughout the world. Darkness will plague your enemies, just like in the original Exodus. Their mouths and their influence will be stopped. When this occurs, my glory will fill your homes. Invite me in and I will manifest in ways you never thought I would for you. So that's the first part of it. Then he's talking about a little bit later, desperate times call for desperate measures. This is like the second or third prophecy he's given this to me about our enemies and what they're doing. He said this phrase will be used in a surprising way. See who's saying this. The 25th Amendment, or the 25th, excuse me, I'm saying it's amendment, but the 25th will be continue to be brought up against the word sanity. This word will be used in question to his ability to keep the seat he's trying to stay in. His cognitive function will take a dramatic turn for the worse in the coming days. Watch the fast and significant decline, some will say. There's not much time. So watch the next play your enemies will take in their desperate times for them in this hour, saith the Lord. So he's really talking about something significant is going to happen to the Biden. His cognitive function is going to decline in a way they won't be able to hide it the way they have been trying to hide it. We all can see the gaffes that he's been doing.
How can it get worse?
He's been saying, huh?
How can it get worse?
He's going to get worse. But one thing the Lord said again in a prophetic word he gave me this morning, this person is going to say who he really is.
Really?
Yeah. He's going to be so cognitively not there. He's going to say who he is, and they're going to try to fix it, and they can't.
Wow.
As like he's just having a gaffe and he's just making a mistake, and he just misspoke. You know how they say that a lot, that he misspeaks a lot? Yeah. So that's why I think you're seeing too that Obama is he's in the news a lot again.
Yep.
I think they're going to try to bring him back more in the spotlight again.
Yep. It's not going to work.
No.
Roger Stone said that he expects the midterm elections, and I'll just say a certain person says, watch the 1st of July, because after the 1st of July, people start really going to hyper focus of the elections, and they can't have him in with that negative inflation and negativity that he has. They can't have it past July.
Yeah, they're going to try to separate themselves from him and distance quite a bit with what he's been doing. And something else that the Lord said was very profound about him is that he's their fall guy. So everything negative that they are doing, because they need to speed this, they need to speed all this stuff up. They didn't want to take the fall for it. They wanted a fall guy.
Yeah.
Well, they have blackmailed him. They have all these things on Biden because of his horrible lifestyle and what he's done behind the scenes. They have so many things to threaten him with. That's why you see, as old as he is, but supposedly he's the oldest one, and he should be in retirement. And it looked like he was going to for a while, and it looked like they were trying to put someone else in there. They really went all in for him. But I think they really wanted Kamala, but she didn't take like everyone thought she was going to.
No.
And they obviously can't stand her.
No, nobody can. Yeah, she's got just like Hillary Clinton. Unlike her popularity is so bad. Would she get 1% of the vote in the primary?
Yeah, it was something horrific. I'm like, dude, that's embarrassing. I'm just saying.
Jeez.
Yeah. So there was, I don't remember which one it was, if it was yesterday or today's, but he talked about how they're going to let him fall. They're going to try to get rid of him as much as they can, because they didn't realize how bad he was going to be for them.
Yeah.
Like, they knew he was cognitively not there, but they thought they could keep him going, and they can't keep this person going anymore.
Yep.
So we're going to see a lot change soon.
A lot changed soon, because I was given some more information over the weekend about the election. The 2,000 mules opened up the door. I believe that because they proved it. They were in Arizona yesterday, proving it again to Arizona. But what I'm told is coming within days to weeks. I wouldn't say weeks. I would say days, because they're not going to hold us back. Is going to be a smoking gun like nobody's seen compared to 2,000 mules around the elections.
The Lord said that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
He said he did. I think he even used the expression "smoking gun." But I think I was on here last time or the time before that. I said the Lord gave me that word that there was somebody who had substantial evidence that cannot be denied.
Yep.
And it cannot be held back anymore. I mean, they think they really have, because this has been, a year and a half since the 2020. Oh, everything's fine. We got away with it. I have not been released to go see that movie yet. I really want to, but because prophetically,
right,
I can't. But I have heard some people saying about how strong the evidence is and how undeniable it is. But I 100%, because of prophetic words I've received, believe what you just said.
Yeah, because their pushback on that. Well, geofencing doesn't work. Well, how does an Uber know exactly what side of the street you're on?
Yeah.
I came from a wireless background. That's where I was before I was in the corporate world, or before I was a pastor. I was a director of AT&T. I know exactly how those things work, and they can pinpoint the accuracy so incredibly tight. It's mind-blowing.
This is so I want to really watch that movie, but until I can't. But I'm just excited with what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's good news.
Mm-hmm. There was also something that I think that you would be happy with. I think it was, I gave it out last Friday before I left. But the Lord said the seals were on. He didn't tell us how much more, but he just said the seals were on the move. And then he did talk about more military movement. And then he talked about how I'm happy for it. It was really good. I know people like it, but again, he's really talking about big moves being made. And I know it was on here last week, and I gave you that one that you said you're happy.
Yeah, I was told that. That had to be
Really?
rescuing children.
Yep.
Sedition and treason.
Mm-hmm.
So the Marines, I know, are on the move. But I honestly haven't heard anything about the Navy SEALs. So that's fascinating.
But he did talk about the military in general, but he said something about the SEALs on the move. And I have no idea because I'm not in the military, so I have no idea. You know, I'm sitting there thinking SEALs they do covert
Yeah. Yeah. Very
operations
covert.
that
High
people
level. The highest
high level.
level you can.
Okay.
You know, being a Marine, Marines are the best of the best as far as a branch, but a Navy SEAL, I mean, these SEALs, I've trained with them before. They're absolutely top notch. They're the
So
best of the best.
this is what he said. The SEALs are on the move, my children. Active.
Yeah.
And then he said more activity is starting in the skies above you, O United States. Unusual cancellations, things are happening to take this country back. And unusual things will be seen to take place more and more as the days come closer to the total takeover. Saith the Lord of Hosts. So he did say that. And we were and this is what I wanted to tell you, because we were just talking about all the cancellations and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is just one of them that he gave me about the skies. He gave me starting about cancellations and about the military being in the skies above since I think November or December of last year. He's been talking to me about military and then the skies. And I think one time we talked about, you said there was more active stuff going on in the skies.
Yep. We have somebody that follows the military planes and explains what they do. We're going to try to get back in touch with them and see what the movement is in the air. But we were in Myrtle Beach. I think we mentioned this before. There was 2 ospreys off the water. That is rare. $1 million an hour to fly one of those. So you just don't fly them for any reason, and you usually don't see 2 together.
That was off the coast of Myrtle Beach.
Off the I saw them. I saw them right off my balcony. There was 2 of them.
Okay, that's crazy. Actually, it's not, because the Lord just confirms everything all the time. He's been talking about watching the waters, but he specifically has said, watch the Atlantic Ocean. Not only, he said they have things in the water, underneath the water, that we didn't know was there. And it was things that were to be used against us that God was going to expose and stop.
Yeah.
Now you're saying that now. Of course, I didn't hear that, but I also, if I would have heard, I still wouldn't have known what those were, because I've been out in the military, so I didn't know that. But he did. He keeps mentioning the Atlantic Ocean and what they're hiding in the water.
Yeah, one of the biggest concerns the security of our nation has right now is to take just a regular ship and park it in international waters and shoot off a suitcase nuke into the air, into the atmosphere above the U.S., which would cause a electronic magnetic pulse, which would wipe out our grid.
EMP.
Yep.
And one of the things that the Lord keeps mentioning is about a warship, and he mentions it again. And whether we have a total EMP or something similar to that, or just they mess with the grids in general, like they kind of did, they gave themselves away in Texas, because that happened. I don't remember. I think it was back in 2020, where Texas had some blackouts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
During that winter storm.
Yep.
But it really wasn't blackouts. I mean, it was blackouts, but it wasn't caused because of the storm. They just used it as an excuse for that. So that's what they're using the heat. Like I said, us in Iowa, we don't get as hot as, maybe even California. I mean, I was just in California. I just came home from there yesterday, and it definitely wasn't hot yet, but we don't get heat like Texas or, whatever. We're in the Midwest. Yeah, we get humid.
Yep.
But to say blackouts already, I'm going, you guys are already trying to excuse yourselves of what you're doing.
And nationwide. I've never heard it nationwide before. Usually you hear about it in California or a place like that, just because the grid's overloaded, but not nationwide.
I see. I hadn't even heard nationwide yet. So you're telling me something that I haven't even heard yet.
Yep.
And then, because usually if you hear the blackouts in California, that's something that we've already heard that. It usually happens a lot. Because like you said, California, they are overloaded there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see why just by being there for the first time. And to me, when I was looking at all the grids, I'm going, these are so outdated. They look horrible there.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does look bad.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really surprised that they do have a lot of problems with the amount of people of that are there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they purposely do these things. They didn't want our grid to be, they've done everything else, our technology, but why not our grids?
Yeah,
because they didn't want it to. They wanted easy access.
Yeah, there is some advantages to that, though. You could see a situation where inner cities go dark and the rural areas stay light because our grid is fragmented, and usually the rural are more up to date, and the ones in the city aren't, and so that could happen.
A lot of our stuff here where I live. And I mean, I don't live in a small city, but I don't live in a big city either. But a lot of our stuff is underground. Mm-hmm. So when other people have blackouts because of storms, we really don't, because a lot of our electrical is actually in the ground. So I don't think in 5 years that I've lived here, my electricity has gone out more than a couple seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, we just don't have a lot of electrical problems. So, I mean, but again, our enemies have planned this for so long. I mean, really, they wanted to do this stuff a long time ago. And that's why you're seeing them hardening their heart. They're getting more arrogant. They're out there. Like you said, since we talked about this, I think, a couple of times ago, since Trump changed on that escalator, it was like they all started foaming at the mouth.
Yep.
I mean, I'm like, what do they have? Now, this was before he was president. But like, what do they have a problem with him? They loved him like a day ago. I'm like, the same people are coming out against him. They had him on all their TV shows. Yep. They were golfing with him, and they were at all his resorts, and all of a sudden they hate the guy.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's so obvious because he didn't run with you, and now you are afraid because you know he can't be paid off by you. Mm-hmm. Because he really truly is an honest man. Yep. And he's not going to be paid off. And you hate that because he's not a normal politician. And that's what, and they saw how much the country loved it.
Yep.
Because he wasn't a politician. He was a true businessman who just loved the country. Yep. And I think that's how a lot of us fell in love with him, because he wasn't a normal politician that wants to just, they give us fluff and they say all these things, but they don't do anything. And he kept all of his promises.
And he did. He delivered everything, including, the embassy to Jerusalem, which every president said they would.
And you know what's so awesome about that? He not only kept his promises, but look at how much adversity he had.
Yeah.
And he still kept them, no matter what. That shows why God had to pick somebody so strong and so bold to stand up and say, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do against me. I don't care. I'm going to still do everything that I need to do while I'm here. And he did. Everybody else would have backed off.
Yep.
He never backed off. They did this whole inauguration and the fraud, and thinking he was just going to go and he was going to go hide, and he's going to be so ashamed, and he's going to just leave him alone. And he's not.
He's more popular now.
Yeah. And he's still doing all these rallies that more people are showing up to.
Yep.
So they can't get rid of him, and they don't know what to do about it. And I just laugh. I laugh so hard. I'm like, you have no idea. You can't touch. God said, touch not my anointed.
Yep. You
can't, no matter what you do.
Yeah, he broke another record in Wyoming over the weekend of attendance.
Oh, did he?
Yep, the largest ever in the state of Wyoming.
How many showed up, did it say?
I don't remember the number, but they said it was the largest the state of Wyoming has ever had.
So I hear a prophetic word, and people, when they hear, because I get names, and how I give you some of my prophetic words, and sometimes they'll just say a name. This name is going to be your news, this location, things like that. Well, this is before I don't know his schedule, because again, I don't watch the news. Mm-hmm. So I don't have any idea what's going on unless people send it to me. Well, I heard the word Casper like a month or so ago, month and a half ago. And I was like, Casper, Lord, I'm like, the only Casper I know is Casper the Friendly Ghost in the movie back in the 90s. And I'm like, you really want me to say Casper? Pittsburgh, Baton Rouge, like 2 weeks before that even occurred.
Wow.
So that's why, I mean, people say, God's not saying anything. He's not doing anything. The political realm is still the way it is. Look at what he does, though. He's saying these names. He's giving us these locations. And to me, some of it is absolutely funny. It's like he said monkey, and I'm going, why would monkeys be in the news, Lord? Like, why would monkeys be important to be in the news to say this? And then all of a sudden it comes out with a monkeypox like a month or two later, 2 or 3 months later. Yeah. So again, he's so detailed and he's so accurate, and when he's giving us these words, we should all be really excited, even when it's just locations, to say, hey, I'm just proving to you that I'm speaking. Yeah. I'm proving to you that I'm giving these prophetic words. So even though all this stuff hasn't happened the way you wanted it to, just know that I'm still in control, and don't be afraid.
Yeah. And the enemy's predictable. What do we have on June 4th? Oh, yeah. We have Pentecost, and then you have June 5th, the threatening to take it to the level to shut us down and mask us back up and not to let us travel. These people are wicked. They're evil.
They are 100%. And that's why I cannot wait until people actually stand up, because they know there is more of us than there is of them. And that's why they're so petrified, but that's why they've tried to divide us for so long. Right. We are the United States, but they've tried to divide us because they know a house divided against itself cannot stand. So why do you think they've been trying? They've been trying religion. They've been trying everything, ethnic groups, no matter what it is. They try to divide, Democratic, Republican, whatever. They try to divide in any way, shape, or form. So you are not united against them. Mm-hmm. And that's why we all have to stand up and start praying. God says he's given us the keys. He's given us the name above every name. Yep. He's given us the authority in the name of Jesus. So we need to start using it. We need to start shouting like the walls of Jericho. Everybody who's got a shofar, start using it. Everybody's got trumpets, start using it. Everybody's got a voice, start using it. And start saying what God needs you to say against them, and watch their walls come down. This is that same God that tore the walls of Jericho down in that one day.
Yep. And
really.
And they fell this way because he exposed the babies and their false gods.
And he made it where they could walk up that wall. It was almost like a ladder. They could just walk right up there and into Jericho. Yep. We have to realize that God does everything. It's not coincidental. I mean, seriously, it wasn't coincidental that they walked across on dry land in the Red Sea. It wasn't coincidental that God saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace and not before it. Right. Why? Because we're still talking about it today, because it was so profound. Such a miracle. That's what we're going to see. That God, he's still alive, and he still does these things. We just need to trust him.
Amen. Let's trust him. And I can't believe how quick an hour goes with you. Hour and 1 minute went like that quick. Any closing thoughts that you have?
If things are going to get interesting, God keeps using that. Things are going to get very interesting. So everything that can be shaken will be shaken. Do not be moved. It's always the darkest before the dawning. Yep. So even though things might look like it's worse, but God is saying that is directed for your enemies. And in this whole entire time, he's going to give you joy and peace as long as you put your trust in him. Everything is going to be okay, because nobody outsmarts, outmaneuvers, or outplays God. God always wins.
Yep. And the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob holds the trump card, literally.
Yes, he just came out over the weekend. Yep. Nothing trumps God. I said that in the middle of Manuel Johnson's service. Nothing trumps God, and they can't ever do it. And I just love using that word.
Amen.
That name is not a coincidence either.
No, it's not. No, not at all. All right. Well, that ends this Take 5. Thank you, Julie. We'll see you soon. God bless you, and buckle up. It's going to get exciting. It's going to have its dark moments, but light wins. We have to trust in him. God bless you, and go in his shalom.